if you, for example, say I want to save 50,000 ISK a month, you can type it in. You can choose the market interest rates. You know, we are comparing basically all market interest rates, interest rates that are offered on the market for individuals today. Or you can put in your own value of interest, and then you can see, you know, how this savings are building up over a longer period of time. Right. And I think people generally, me included, don't fully understand sort of the value of interest and compounded interests over a longer period of time. So if you say 50,000 each month, starting as of this month, I mean, in 5 years, how much will you own? Sort of making a prediction on the interest rates. Yeah. And I think this will also help people in understanding sort of the value of money and the value of time, and how interest sort of play, or what role interest play in general.
So Jóhannes, great to meet you. Thank you for coming down and meeting us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Very, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, okay, so let's get started. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you and what you do?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a husband, and I'm the father of 2 children, aged 5 and 8. I also happen to be the CEO of Two Birds. I'm a lawyer with a master's degree in law from the University of Iceland and the University of Cambridge. Yeah. I was in private practice, working as an attorney for about 10 years before joining Credit Info Group as their general counsel or head of legal for the group. So basically working in 30 different jurisdictions. Okay. Before joining Info Capital, an Icelandic investment company last year. And lastly, as a part of that journey, becoming the CEO of Two Birds most recently. Right. So yeah, I've been involved with the Icelandic startup scene as well. I was a lecturer at the university for a few years, teaching in a course related to Icelandic startups. Okay. I founded my own company back in 2011 in the legal tech space, which I later sold in 2015. And yeah, so I'm just super excited to be in this relatively new role. Right. And basically ready to go. Okay,
very good. So tell us a little bit about Two Birds. What does it do? What's its value proposition? Yeah. And what problem does it solve?
Yeah, exactly. These are all very good and valid questions. So Two Birds was actually founded in 2018. In the beginning, the focus was a little bit different than it is today. So it was focusing on the real estate market and sort of disrupting that market by introducing a new way of assessing real estate, by introducing sophisticated algorithms, taking into many underlying and different values, and basically giving you an instant outcome and an accurate real estate assessment, something that had not been done before, at least in Iceland. Then in 2020, Two Birds acquired Ørbjörg. And so the focus shifted a bit back in 2020. When we acquired Ørbjörg, it was a mere sort of comparison site, comparing housing loans. And since the acquisition, we have added quite a lot of features and functionalities to the platform. Okay. So we've added the real estate assessment I mentioned before, loan calculators, where people can basically put in their values and numbers and calculate loans that they are sort of applicable for on their houses, based on their own numbers, as well as a set of complex loan rules, which are quite different in Iceland between lenders. So the banks and the pension funds, they all have different criteria. So this assists people in sort of understanding what loans they may apply for. We have also added more comparison, not only housing loans, but also car loans, savings accounts, debit cards, credit cards, and yeah, basically just offered people a more widespread service.
Right, so it's been growing. So basically you took the simple comparison side and then you've added features to it that's become like a much more comprehensive suite of services.
Yeah, exactly. And we have sort of taken a lot of different steps on that journey, and I would say that our journey is probably only beginning.
Right.
So we are now basically entering into the next phase of our journey, and I will come back to that a bit later.
Okay.
But the value proposition of Örbjörg, and the core value is basically to simplify people's finances, and offering them sort of a platform and facilitate access to their own financial information, a platform where you can access and store your information to better understand this information, to assist in making financial decisions, to help you in making better and more informed financial decisions, and then also to take the next step in acting on those decisions. So onboarding with service providers, lenders, utility companies, and so forth.
Right.
So we are going back to the problem we intend to solve and consider ourselves to be solving at the moment is basically simplifying the complex nature of finances.
Right.
And sort of, offering people better understanding.
Yes.
And basically holding people's hands when they go through these sort of the difficulties of understanding finance.
All right.
And also to address the dispersity of financial or personal financial information. This information tends to be scattered around here and there, and now we're bringing it into one place,
right,
so people get a complete overview. And also we are tackling often the lack of transparency of information that is important to financial decision making. We were recently awarded with a prize here in Iceland. So we were awarded as the UT startup company in Iceland.
Okay.
So we think that's pretty cool as well.
Congratulations.
So yeah, the president of Iceland presented us with the award, and so we see that as a big encouragement.
Awesome.
So the market is obviously acknowledging what we are doing, and we are being recognized.
Fantastic.
And I think the service providers also understand this, that this is becoming increasingly important platform, and will play an important role in sort of the development of the Icelandic financial scene.
Yeah, very cool. Cynical minds would say that part of the banking business model is built on its complexity. That the complexity is not it's a feature of the system that enables people to not understand really what's happening, and that obviously it's abused by some companies that make revenue out of it. So the question I have is, have you faced any pushback or any challenges in trying to bring that clarity and that transparency to an industry that traditionally has been a little bit murky?
Yeah, I mean, we have of course encountered this, but to begin with, as I said before, our focus is on simplifying people's finances and sort of address lack of transparency. And we look upon our role not only sort of towards the user and the customer and the consumer, I mean the people, but also what is on the other side, the companies and their offerings. So we are tackling this from both sides basically.
Right.
And what we have actually, surprisingly or not, we have not faced a lot of opposition. We have actually faced much more understanding and the willingness on behalf of the companies to do better, to improve their communication with the user, the end user, and to be better informed. I think the service providers and the companies are constantly better understanding that this is important and this is also a good and a necessary value proposition on their behalf. So we are facilitating this because we are positioning ourselves on the market between sort of the consumer and the companies. And so we are sort of a facilitator between those two. And to mention that the companies, they also understand and see an opportunity in working together with us, for the reasons I mentioned before.
Right.
And they see this as a valuable platform. I mean, there's a core audience on Örbjörg's platform that the companies can reach more directly than maybe in any other platform.
Okay.
So this helps as well. And a part of what we are trying to do as well is to educate. Educate people and to educate the companies, and we take that role very seriously as well. Okay,
tell me a little bit about that, because I noticed on your website that you make a lot of emphasis on improving financial literacy.
Yes.
So how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, we sort of what we have understood in the time that we have been operating, so to speak, is that we feel that people better understand working or understanding finance through examples. So the tools and the platform we are offering is sort of assisting people in understanding the finances and the underlying terms and conditions. Okay. So let me put that into context. So we have the loan calculator, for example, and we are constantly working on improving the calculators, for example.
Yeah.
And one of the improvement is to sort of channel through better understanding and knowledge and education of sort of the values you're putting in and the results you are getting. So let me simplify a bit more. So if you take, for example, your own values, your own numbers, you want to refinance or you want to buy a new real estate, and you enter in the money or the amount you need, and sort of the desired term of the loan, the interest, the type of loan, should it be indexed or not, and you type this in and you get an instant result comparing. If you have a loan today, you can see sort of how you compare to the market rates of indexed loans and non-indexed loans, as well as fixed interest and floating interest. And by getting the top results in each category, you can see sort of what is your monthly payment and what is your estimated total repayment amount, sort of when you have paid up the entire sum.
Right.
And when you see this in comparison, you understand much better how sort of the indexation works. I mean, how does the indexation affect your total?
Yeah.
Versus your monthly payments. How does fixed interest compare to variable interest over a longer period of time? So I think by sort of giving the people the tools and sort of the instant outcome with obviously a very sophisticated underlying technology will also help people in understanding difficult terms and how sort of the market works, and what is the value of money, what is the value of time,
right,
and what is the expected return on your either expenses or investment. So another example is a calculator we are introducing soon for savings. So people can basically enter into a certain value. If you, for example, say I want to save 50,000 ISK a month, you can type it in. You can choose the market interest rates. We are comparing basically all market interest rates interest rates that are offered on the market for individuals today, or you can put in your own value of interest, and then you can see, you know, how this savings are building up over a longer period of time. Right. And I think people generally, me included, don't fully understand sort of the value of interest and compounded interests over a longer period of time. So if you say 50,000 each month, starting as of this month, I mean, in 5 years, how much will you own? Sort of making a prediction on the interest rates. Yeah. And I think this will also help people in understanding sort of the value of money and the value of time, and how interest sort of play, or what role interest play in general.
There's a very interesting combination of the power of simplification in your case, because on one side you're talking about simplifying the understanding of finance and helping people become better at managing their finances. But I think one of the things that makes finance so complex, and you've alluded to it, is the terms and conditions, which I guess your legal background can also help you make easier to grasp for the audience. Right? So that combination of simplifying finance and simplifying legal terminology so that people can actually understand what terms and conditions they're tying up to could be a very powerful mix, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we obviously started with sort of the core comparison, so to speak, and then sort of as a part of the next phase in our journey is to tackle the terms and conditions.
The legal stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that is also what we are striving to do. Yeah. And I want to mention that we are very excited about this part of our operation. I mean, the educational part. And it touches upon sort of social responsibility, which is also high on our radar. And we are also looking into the possibilities of teaming up or cooperating with schools here in Iceland, or in general the educational system, going actually far down in the school system.
Early on, right?
Yeah, even primary or secondary school. Just with sort of simplified examples, as we're saying, for young adults and adults, to be putting in your values. Yep. I mean, I'm speaking frequently about these matters with my 8-year-old daughter, and she is very interested, asking me every day, how is it going? What is to expect? What is coming? Can I use it? Can my schoolmates use it? So I see a huge opportunity there, actually, to sort of address a greater problem, so to speak, in our society. Indeed. And educating the younger generations.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the privacy issue, because I guess if you're trying to address the dispersed nature of financial information, there must be some privacy concerns. Yeah. How do you deal with those concerns, and what challenges have you found in gathering all that data from a privacy perspective? Yeah,
so privacy issues are all around us. I mean, whatever you do, and maybe more so for a business like ours. First of all, we take any privacy issues and information security very seriously. So our processing of personal data, and actually the design of our software and platform, is conducted under the scrutiny of Icelandic data protection laws and the GDPR regime. Yeah. So we are actually very focused on the sort of the legal grounds and the purpose of our processing, and sort of what are we doing? What are we trying to achieve? We are trying to create a platform where you, as a user, can collect and have a complete oversight of your own personal financial information. So we are, in a sense, empowering the user to take control of your own information. So we are just offering you the tool and the platform to do it. Right. So you can have it there, and you can add value to this information through the technology that we are offering. for your benefit. So that's how we see it. So I mean, we want to put the user in the driver's seat. The user is always in the driver's seat. So the user is always fully informed what we are doing, what are we processing, what data are we using, because you as a user, basically, you see all this information. I mean, you grant us the access to this information, and we are facilitating you, basically asking us to request this information from here and there. So you have it in your, basically, portfolio, and then you can use it, basically, for your own benefit through the technology that we are offering.
Right.
So, I mean, we are basically following the golden standard in doing this by applying the GDP rules and regulations, and we take this very seriously.
Right. All right. Tell me a little bit now of what happens once these type of innovations become mainstream in the market, right? I think we're seeing that there's a push towards, mostly from customers, to say, I want to be able to experience the same type of customer experience that I get from Spotify or Netflix or all these other digital companies when I use my bank. So if we look, I don't know, 5 years into the future, where this becomes a standard, where people are able to understand easily what they're consuming, the terminology, they can see projection interest on whatever terms and conditions they choose. What comes after that?
Yeah, it's a good question. If I knew the answer, I would probably be in a very good position. I mean, obviously, we as any other company, we are trying to predict into the future. But what we need to understand as well is that probably, when we think about the younger generations, because we are now trying to educate the younger generations as well, we need to understand that probably over 65% of the positions that this younger generation will be holding in the future is non-existent today. So it's difficult to give a prediction on that. But what we sort of strive in doing is to offer, to get the user in the driver's seat, to offer a good user experience. So basically you can take care of your finances through one place. So you are in control, you have a software which is assisting you, making sound financial decisions, and actually making recommendations for you, pointing out savings opportunities. You could say that Earthberg is sort of working as a security system for the home. Only it's a security system for your finances. So you're basically putting your finances in one bubble, and then Earthberg is sort of surrounding this bubble and protecting it and letting you know if something changes, if some opportunities arise, and also being proactive towards the service providers outside of the bubble, bringing you offers, some better chances to sort of get a better financial health.
Right.
So it's a monitoring device for financial health. I mean, we will offer you a chance to see the market rates and compare your basically position to the market. But we are also taking one step further by allowing people to compare themselves to other users of Earthberg on anonymous basis, obviously. So how does your profile basically fit to other profiles? So what are people in general doing in maybe a similar position as you are? So this can also take a burden of you. Maybe you just want to follow what others are doing, or you are just interested in learning that. So we will be taking advantage of sort of the use group within Earthberg as well to produce even better results and better advice for you.
I think that's really interesting, because I think we're all naturally curious to see how do we fit with the group, but having access, we never really have access to benchmarks on finance, like what are other people doing, what are they getting, what is the, I think even just hearing about it, I'm thinking, I would actually spend some time positioning myself and seeing how I rank in comparison to others that look like me, or that live in areas like me, or that have a similar profession. So
so it's a basically what we will be introducing is at least two-dimensional comparison.
Yeah.
So we have the comparison today, with the prices and so forth of the service providers, and interest rates, and the loans available and so forth. And then you have the sort of user comparison,
right?
Which is it will be quite dynamic and a powerful tool, I think.
Yeah.
And interesting for people to see.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, just to close, tell us a little bit about the vision that you have for Two Birds, for Albjörg.
Yeah, for Albjörg.
And and what can we expect to see in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah. So my vision for Albjörg is to creating the go-to platform for people's or households' personal finances. Not only here in Iceland, but in other countries as well, around the world. For example, in Europe. And I mean, it's not only about sort of your finances, it's also to, as I said before, to educate, to educate people about, finance in general and economics and how the real world basically works.
Yeah.
So people are understanding that. I mean, we are now transforming Albjörg from sort of this comparison site originally with the added features and functionalities I mentioned before into becoming your personal CFO.
Okay.
So Albjörg, this fictional character, will basically act as your personal CFO. So you can ask Albjörg basically to take care of your finances, but you will also have a platform where you can be on the lookout yourself. You can see sort of and monitor your financial health, but also be relaxed that Albjörg is basically holding your hand and assisting you in making sound financial decisions.
Right.
And also offering you the opportunity to act on those decisions. So we offer the platform, we set this up for you. We offer or we recommend a certain way, but we also offer the tools to do this yourself. So you will always, as the user, make the final decision, and then you can act on the decision. So sort of financial onboarding with service providers, banks, insurance companies, utility companies, whatever, will also play a big part in sort of what we are trying to achieve.
Well, I think that's a really exciting future that you paint for us. We'll be keeping a close eye on Two Birds and how this develops.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you
for this.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.